All right, Renita, good morning, good day to everyone. Thank you for coming. We're going to get started probably in a few minutes or less than a few minutes. I see people still rolling into this the webinar. Thank you for all that are attending. So just give them a few more minutes, a few more seconds. Maybe we have a bit of an international crowd from all over the place. Yeah, actually getting a few attendees. So why don't we give it another 30 seconds or so, Renita. And just, you can see my screen, Renita, fine, I assume? And
I can see your screen, yeah. And audio as well.
yeah. This GoToWebinar system still works pretty well. Sometimes it's just how you know how to use the system is the more important than how good this is. But this has been very reliable for us, at least. All right, so let me just do something like this. Okay, we're essentially a minute past the hour here, and maybe we'll kick it off, Renita. And just for the audience, good day, everyone. And again, welcome to this another Fastman presentation. I really appreciate you taking the time to learn about Fastman Solutions and being able to the opportunity to talk to everyone here. I'm Brian Lapointe, and I'm joined by Renita Day. Renita is a very highly skilled senior ECM consultant with Fastman. She's going to help us with the technical demonstration today. Both Renita and I have been in the OpenText ecosystem for many years, and just pleased to be showcasing another solution from Fastman called our Bulk Data Manager, and it's for the OpenText content management platform. And so, just as the title is saying, why limit data updates to IT admins? We're going to kind of show you a little bit of more of a self-service tool. Yes, of course, anyone can use this, but that's kind of the idea, is the democratization of some of these tools where, they can be a little less technical and easier for you to use. And so whether you're planning to deploy in AI-based solutions, leveraging knowledge within your documents, records, and content stored in OpenText, or just needing to improve your information governance hygiene, Fastman provides these tools to simplify the job, okay? So as we move on here, Renita, would you like to just say hello to the audience? Just a little voice check. You there, Renita?
I'm sorry, I was speaking on mute, so thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's get started. Yeah.
All right, so let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is just start off with a few poll questions, and then we'll roll right into this quick, guys. So let me work my magic on the software here. We'll launch. First question, I'm going to hit launch. And so basically, I'm just asking how you currently, and I assume on your side, Renita, you can see the poll question?
I can see them well, yep.
Yeah, so maybe, how about you read off the poll questions and I'll give the results. What's the poll question?
How do you currently bulk load data into your content management system? Are you using Object Importer? A lot of people do that, third-party professional services, or any other application like OTIC, anything else, any other tool that we haven't heard about or which is not mentioned here. So a lot of people are saying other application like OTIC, that's 67%. And Brian, I think you can see the other one.
Okay, so you can see it on your side, the results. Good.
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. It's evening out now, right? It's about 50-50.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought.
So we're seeing 50% Object Importer and 50% other application like OTIC, which is the OpenText Integration Center, right? So I imagine it's in that area. So that's good to know. We'll close the poll right now. Thank you for the feedback. I got another one I'd like to share. And you can introduce this one, Renita, if you like, if I can put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't launch it. Did I launch it? Here it is.
Yes, it is up now. Do you have plans to AI enable your content management system using Content Aviator? The buzzword, yes. Do you have plans in the next 9 months, next year, or as of now, no plans? So I think Medium can be useful in many ways with starting your journey. So interesting to know where everyone is.
Yeah, essentially, the 9 months is, are you planning to do it this year?
This
Really?
year, yeah.
And then, otherwise, are you planning to do it next year? Or have you not really made solid plans? And so I guess we're seeing a 60-40 split between 40% are saying next year, and was maybe a little more, 45% are saying next year, and 55% are saying they have no plans just yet. So that makes sense. It takes preparation to get there and so forth to really do it. But it is top of mind in the roadmap for a lot of people we're seeing. Let's see. Here's a favorite one of mine, Renita. You can introduce this one if you like.
Yep. Are you using business workspaces? I think very important concept, very lovely to use. If you're using it, that's yes. If you're planning to transition from folders to business workspace, that means you are introducing it. You can go ahead and click that button. And if you're not really using it like vanilla content management, DMS structure, that's fine as well. Still a lot of features that content management provides you, and even Medium can help you out with. So yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing the majority, 64%, are currently using business workspaces. So that could be tied to a lead application like SuccessFactors or Salesforce.com or SAP in general, or you're just using it natively out of the box. Of course, we see a lot of people do that too. So it's still holding about 64%. Okay, here's another one. Here's the last one. We'll launch this one. It's about metadata. Maybe you can introduce this one too. Thank you for helping me out.
Sure. So do you ever need to update categories and attributes? I sure did. So that's one part of the question. And obviously, records management is important. Not everything is categorized on day one. So are you updating that? Yes, no, or everything is perfect in your system. So let's see how that turns out. Right? I'm interested to know that.
I was a little cheeky with that last response.
I saw that.
Because everybody's metadata is perfect, right? So essentially the strong response, over 80% are saying yes, right? We need to do it, right? That's kind of where it comes down to a lot of times. Keeping metadata updated and tagged and so forth is a rigid, mentality that you need to have, quite frankly. So we're going to talk about and show you how to help make that easier. And with that, we're done polls. Thanks everyone for the polls. Let's just roll into, at this point, we'll roll into the presentation and the demonstration. So you'll see Bulk Data Manager live in action, updating content and loading content into OpenText shortly here. But let me first just allow me to properly introduce Fastman. The company has been working in the OpenText ecosystem for almost 20 years, and we have deep expertise within the OpenText content management, which was formerly known as Extended ECM Platform. Okay, and we currently run 3 strong business lines, popularly known as managed services, managed agreements, and this brings us to the Fastman Management Suite, where Bulk Data Manager resides. And the management suite is our out-of-the-box toolkit that will enhance any OpenText content management deployment by increasing the precision of your information governance. And by doing this, it also results in greater, Content Aviator AI readiness for your platform too. And within the OpenText ecosystem, Fastman holds several distinguishing achievements. Okay, we are a proud solution extension partner of OpenText. for which the Fastman Management Suite is readily available to purchase. And we also have ISV, system integrator status, and our products are OT Cloud certified for the OpenText content management platform. So worth important to state there. And you know, the big theme the last year, any OpenText conference I've been to, you're going to, or you're hearing about virtually, remotely, is about there's a big focus on using AI or generative AI as it is today. That's where Content Aviator resides. You know, and you know, as we learn and prepare to introduce this type of AI automation to our business, the importance of information governance is critical to the success, okay? And that's what a lot of us do running these systems. We're finding that this is leading to, you know, real heightened awareness to the importance of strong information governance and the tools needed to achieve it, such as, you know, and this is in our wheelhouse, you know, a simpler way to manage, you know, the access controls within your systems, or tools to label information, you know, using classifications and metadata, and being able to really curate this valuable content while disposing of expired information, you know, records management, right? And at Fastman, OpenText and our customers, we are hyper-focused on this area, and together we're pleased to be sharing these best practices with you today of how to achieve that. So let me talk about the management suite from Fastman. It's an all-inclusive solution tailored to manage your business data, and the suite of products work together seamlessly, and they increase the effectiveness. And what they do is give you complete control over your data, your users, and your business. Additionally, it reduces the cost of compliance per managed item, okay? And this is a key metric in measuring your ROI. There is one from all of the Fastman tools. And success of your information platform, your OpenText platform. And for the application owners in the organization, these must-have tools really help you increase your self-service on the OpenText platform. Being able to do it yourself is basically what that's about. So, and let's just take a closer look at the individual components. You'll find that our integrated user interfaces make even complex tasks easier to manage with real minimal training and without the need for complex and expensive scripts or specialized IT support or services. Self-service is what it does. And we find by simplifying data migrations, controlling functional access, permissions, temporary access, you can safely deploy more use cases and accelerate your overall OpenText and Content Aviator adoption. Like I said, as we enter the age of AI-powered decisions and systems, it's really critical to keep the system finely tuned. And we find that our customers will purchase, you know, they'll either purchase the entire suite, we have many do that, or deploy just individual components based on what their specific needs are. And today we have one of those components we're going to showcase to you with the Bulk Data Manager. And that's what it brings us to here. And, you know, just to set the stage for the demonstration coming up here, everyone knows that OpenText Content Management, you know, it's the best system for managing large volumes of content. However, strong tools are still needed for updating important content effectively for you. For example, you know, thinking about this, like how do you handle updating, you know, related documents in sets or in bulk for the system? How do you bulk update on records management? And when you bring information in, retaining that creation date, modification date, maybe the assigned owner as you bring the information in, and that helps you, you know, to have proper metadata tagging and establish records management from there too. So this is where the Fastman Bulk Data Manager is really invaluable. It's our flagship solution for data transformation. And what it does, it has a real low deployment footprint, okay, that introduces more self-service to our customers. It is a client application that works with the OT Cloud and off-cloud deployment systems, off-cloud being, you know, on-premise or in some other cloud, let's say. IT administrators prefer it because they can safely deploy this migration tool to their business users to complete the job rather than directly having to be involved in every step. Customers use it to update their metadata on existing content in OpenText and load taxonomies from external shared drives. It could be a mapped SharePoint drive or even Box to the OpenText content management platform. And if you think about the roadmap or the product suite from OpenText, it fits between where Object Importer is and Magellan Integration Center. So there's a large sweet spot of use cases where this fits nicely for most of it. Almost every content server, content management user has a need for something that Bulk Data Manager handles. From a licensing perspective, it's very flexible. It's priced by production instance with no user or transaction counts. So it's just very easy to make available to your user community. You're not having to count anything. And you authenticate essentially to BDM because it's API driven with the OpenText platform using just your content server credentials. So it respects your security model that's already in place. Since this solution simplifies getting content into OpenText, it'll drive more user adoption for you on your systems. And if you're considering moving to the OT cloud, because it's API driven, it's just a great fit. So as we take a quick look, Renita, we're going to get to the demo quickly here. I just have a couple more slides just to give you a little prompt right there. There's many differentiating features that stand out in this comprehensive solution that I wanted to just kind of highlight to you in the deck. And as you're thinking about this, if there's any questions, feel free to populate them in the chat, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. We are monitoring that. We'll respond to it, or we'll have Q&A afterwards too, so we can pull some of the questions out and talk to them that if we didn't cover them in the presentation. But these are some of the key features here. You're going to see the use of profiles, from the BDM system that provides control for your business process and really simplifies that user experience, right? So this is what makes it self-service and why an IT admin can safely deploy, because you can configure a profile for a business use case and safely provide that to the users to do their job. And it's got a lot of nice things built into it. It's API driven, so being able to validate content before migration or updating is very useful. That just eliminates errors that are happening and going back. You start something and it fails on every item. By validating ahead of time, you avoid those scenarios that could occur. And then it gives you what we call the Bulk Data Manager. We give you BDM logs, BDM standing for Bulk Data Manager. So we give you BDM logs and performance statistics. They're really great for measuring the processing time it'll take to do a job and just the overall keeping track of quality control on it. So the logs keep track of success, metrics, any errors that come out of it, and it'll allow you to go back and just quality control check that things were updated properly. And so you're going to see these and more on this comprehensive solution during the demo, all working together nicely, right? And so okay, almost done. So how do people use BDM specifically? So there's a variety of ways to use and benefit from the Bulk Data Manager tool. And whether you're running OpenText content management in the cloud or off cloud, you can configure it to achieve these outcomes here, okay? Maybe you need to load files and folders into business workspaces as part of your extended ECM integration deployment, right? So you maybe have to load them directly into the workspaces that were created by the lead application, or you have legacy, like in an HR situation, you have legacy HR files that, they're not necessarily in the HR system, but you have them from older employees and you want to keep them in business workspaces. So there's always these corner cases to get a complete solution done, and this works nice. So that doesn't have to be large amounts of files. It could be, but it really is a departmental type solution if you think about it. Next, you may have a large consolidation project that you're working on, and we have customers who use this tool for it. And we call it like lift and shift migrations, where they need to bring in, terabytes of data. I mean, we have customers doing it have brought in over 50 terabytes of data using the tool. It does it very nicely and well, based on, and the performance is based on the network they're running it on and things of that sort too. But it is able to do that. and people use it that way. Or they're just ongoing projects to retire, legacy repositories or network shares to content server, and they're doing it when they have time on an ongoing basis over a long period of time, potentially, as needed, quite frankly. Or you could, like I talked about the profiles, people use it for a regular ingestion of documents as part of a defined business process. Maybe it's onboarding client file submissions that come in, or it's in that financial services use case, or it's in that engineering, where submittals are coming in. You can use it in that process to load files in. Or as one of the poll questions comes up, who doesn't need to update and fix their metadata in the content service system on their categories and attributes? So we'll show that in the demonstration today, but people use it for this all the time. And then I guess last but not least is really just bulk updating on records management, whether you have it in place or you want to update it, or whatever changes you want to make, or you just want to be able to, on migration in, require people, make it easy to tag the documents for records management as they come in. You can do that. And we will show that shortly. Renita, you almost ready to go? We got one more slide. We'll just talk about the deployment model of how BDM works. On the right, I have the OpenText content management system, right? And it communicates with the BDM client. I mentioned that earlier. BDM is a client application that runs on-prem. Basically, your PC is where it runs, but there is a small deployment server that keeps track of the different settings that does run on a separate server, and that would run anywhere in your environment on-prem or in a public cloud. It's all API communications back and forth between the BDM client and the OpenText content management system. Renita, before I hand it off to you, is there anything else more you'd like to kind of talk to the network diagram here before you dive in, or did I cover it?
No, I think you covered it well enough, yeah. And I'll touch point on it during the demo as well. So yeah, you're good.
Okay, so are you able to just take control of the screen at this point, or have you already done that?
I'm making myself the presenter, and then I'm not sure if it is.
Feel free to ask questions, folks, in the chat. We're happy to answer them as needed.
Is my screen visible? Is BDM on the screen?
So I can see the published screen in the browser.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, I have the BDM URL up here. I wanted to just touch base on the authentication methods and things like that. So instead of just bringing the client up, I thought we'll talk about the deployment strategies that you were talking about and then move from there, right? So obviously, BDM is a client application. There is a bit of a setting service that you need to deploy. The client service can be installed in two different ways. So you can install it locally on your machine as a software, so people can go into the start menu and launch the BDM tool, or you can publish them a URL, something like this, which is hosted either on IIS or Tomcat, right? When they click on this, they get a run button. They can open that up, and this is going to download a little bit of a software for the first time, and then it's going to launch BDM for you, right? What you see here is trying to communicate with my setting services to get the information that I have got figured as an admin, right? What that would do is it'll see how my system is configured, how my different authentication methods are set up, how my setting services are set up, and then get me the data there, right? You can see here, I've been prompted to enter my credentials in Content Server. And the reason for that is I have set it up for OAuth authentication, right? So what it is doing is it's going to the ODDS system, and if you have configured something like an IDP provider, right, Autka, Ping Federate, or anything of that sort, it will redirect you accordingly. Once I log in, so I'm logging in as Renita.day. It's going to do the OAuth authentication, as you can see, it's successful, and I'm going to close this window. It's going to start launching my BDM client, right? during the initial stages, you'll see that the status bar is updating something. It's basically trying to get an idea about the classification, the categories. We also have search templates, search queries that you can use during the update process. So it's just getting those things ready. And you can see it is up and ready now. Everything which was grayed out is now available to you, right? So I've launched my BDM client successfully over here. Shows you all the features, and in the background, it did do an OAuth2 authentication for me, right? Now, the heart of BDM is our profiles, as you were telling earlier. It defines how the data gets into the system, right? So I have a few profiles in here, as you can see, just two. One of them is document, which comes out of the box. The other one, I kept it simple for the demo. So it's agreements. So let's talk about the use case a little bit before I dive too much into it. My task for today is to get agreements into the account business workspaces that I've created from SuccessFactors, right? As part of that, the first step was to get all the data in one place if it is not there and organize it. So I've asked people to do that, and you can see here that under the account folders, I have my documents coming in. Some of them have subfolders, some of them are empty, some of them are being directly placed into the parent folder, and so forth and so in. I have all my business workspaces and subfolders and documents created. My job is to bring that in and attach a metadata to it, right? My category currently resides in this subfolder in Content Server. So when I created the profile, I'm going to put a profile name, which is intuitive for my end users, business users, give the location of the category folder where my categories are. And then I will configure the scenarios that I'm planning to do with this demo, right? So we are going to do the agreements. So you can see I changed my profile. There are 4 categories in that folder. I'm interested in the agreement category, so I'm saying that is mandatory for me. You can see there's a little bit of difference in each tab. I'll show that to you, but I can configure this according to my use case. So I want the agreement one, I make that mandatory. The next tab is the attributes. These are the attributes based on of the category. It can be anything like integers or text boxes or drop downs, date fields, TKLs, anything of that sort. So it lists everything down here. I then get an option to override my configuration from Content Server. So for example, categories can have mandatory attribute. Those are always mandatory in BDM as well. But I can also make certain non-mandatory attribute in Content Server mandatory here. And the reason for that is sometimes when you design the category, it's not really required. But as part of a business process, it might be required to be entered always for a migration process. For example, if you're doing legacy contract migration, an expiry date may not be mandatory for a lot of documents, but for contracts, they're always mandatory because your RM may start from the date of expiry, 7 years after that, right? So you may want to override that setting. So in here, we give you that option. During the load process, if you know what RSI you are going to attach to it, well and good, you can enable RM and you can do it. You also get an option to keep the created and modified date from the file. So I've checked that also here. And I'm also saying that I want to do parallel processing for the input just because it's an upload process, makes things faster. Right? I can then save this one, make any changes if I need to. And that's all I need to do to start loading data into my system. No scripting, nothing else required. So this is really good to plug and play for your end users, right? If you're interested in giving other features, you can very well go and update the tabs for that profile or create more profiles with different category attributes. That's up to the business scenario that you're working with. The other one that I'm going to do is update attributes. So I have configured that as well, but I'll come to that when the time is right. So I've set my profiles for this first scenario, and then I'm going to take it from there. I'll take a pause and see if there's anything you want to add, Brian, because this really is how we drive everything, right? So um,
Maybe talk
if you
about the
want,
parallel processing.
yeah. So parallel processing is basically something which allows you to have like it's an internal thing where you know, as the name suggests, we will do multiple uploads at once. It kind of takes into your account your response time and how your system is performing while the upgrades are doing, and then it adjusts the number of threads it can run in parallel. So for bigger migration, we do request our clients to enable this option so that they can see a little bit of performance improvement depending upon their hardware and other infrastructure that they have.
Okay, thank you for that. And it looks like you're going to use two of the profiles here, or inside here. So one is to load content from external sources, and then the other one is to do update of existing content within the OpenText system. So those are the two scenarios. So you can see many of the other tabs. So there's a lot of other things we could do, but those are the two for today that we're going to focus in on.
Yeah, I can see there's a lot of options that you have, and as I was saying, when you create the profile, the tabs are similar, but little bit of difference is there in the configuration because the functionality is different, right? So we allow you to configure as per your, it's very like usable when it comes to configuration. Okay, so let's now start the migration process. I was showing you my folder structure here. So this is what I want to do. I want to lift this data and put it into Content Server. So I start my action button. I say load taxonomy. I get two options here. One is a fresh load. The other thing that you could do is if you're working on a bigger migration where there is data that a few of your team members need to work together, you can go to a certain page in PDM and save that Excel sheet and then work offline on that predefined template and then bring it back. So we allow you to upload an Excel sheet over here, which was generated by PDM, but which you have edited offline, right? For today, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep a fresh new upload, right? Next, I select the folder structure. So this is the folder I want to do. I do have a lot of scenarios. I'm going to just select the agreement folder, which I've populated with a few documents. So let me go back here. And then you see my selection box. This is my local PC. It can be any shared drive, as Brian was talking earlier, any map drive. If you have synced your SharePoint or your box as a drive, you could use that as well. So there are options for that. So I'm going to select the agreement folder. And then this is going to be my base starting folder. From here, the taxonomy will be decided. Here you can see I have two checkboxes. Basically, it tells me how the names are going to be read from the document. If I want to remove the extension when my file name is saved, I would say remove the file extension checkbox on. If I keep it on, example is given here. And sometimes people do save files like underscore signed, or I can give you an example. I did that. Underscore native and underscore final version numbers or their names and things like that. Not every time you want to keep that data in when you're migrating that data in, right? So you can choose to ignore data from that value. So I have both options on. Next in, I am taken to the Content Server browse page. This is loaded based on my access. I've logged in as Renita.day. Because I do a lot of demos, everything has been given access under enterprise. But if a user is logging in and they are like a business user for a specific department or process, they'll only see the folders where they have access and where they can add data. So, and then I can navigate and then I can decide where I want to put in the data. I want to start on the account level. You can see this is a map of my folder structure. So I'm going to kind of like map it over here. So I've done that and then next. I selected a category, if you remember, for the load, and I said type is a mandatory one. So it is showing in yellow. is a drop down. So you can see I'm being given a drop down here as well. And then there is also, this is a TKL, if I remember, that's a TKL, table key lookup.
And that's coming real time through the APIs from the OpenText system.
Right. And if I do and do a change in my table key lookup, like add a value to that table, it will obviously reflect in here as well. Right. And then I have expiry dates. If I want to put one, I can do that. Or I can just clear it off for now. And then BDM, I wanted to put BDM, but maybe I'll do it in the next screen and show you how we can do that, right? So you have a lot of options here. And then next page, this is where we generate your Excel sheet. So you can either save this one as a spreadsheet. It will keep the template that we need intact and save it as an Excel sheet, which you can work offline. Or if you want, you can work on the screen as well. So the first thing you'll see is from this location, my subfolder has been created. So this is my business workspace folder. It maps it to the business workspace if a name already exists. And then this is my second level folder. Now, as I was telling you, people always don't put the data in the correct folder structure, obviously, right? In this case, it should really go into the contract and business document folder that I can show you over here. Right? I really want the data to go in this folder, but because of the way people have put the data in, is showing me different names. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that over here. So what I did is I used the row 3, which kind of populates the data in all the rows that are there in that Excel sheet and populates the data very quickly and fast, right? So you can see that information up here. And then let me just move this a little bit. Okay, and then you can see here that I have the document name. So I said remove everything after the underscore, remove the extension. So you can see that's been removed. I've kept one issue in this Excel sheet. Basically, you can see the contract 2025 is there with the native document as well as for the PDF document. That's intentional just to show you a failure and how the error message will look like, but it still gives you a good idea. If I want, I can update any values here. So I see a typo, I'll fix that. It should be NDA. I'm going to fix that as well. And because I can use this as an Excel sheet, basically, I'm going to copy paste these values over here, right? So you can see I fixed my data in here. The next column is my node description. This is coming from the profile. If I want to change it, I could do that as well. I think this is too much. So let's just make it migration instead. And maybe give like a dash or something. It looks good that way. Owner is Runita. I logged in as runita.day, but the file was created with a different account called Runita in the system. So it has picked that out. And then I gave a default value of lease agreement here in here, which it should be actually consulting or something of that sort. So I can now change the values. Brian touched upon smart validations, which will happen on the screen. So for example, if I try to put a value which is not present in the dropdown, it gave me an error, right? So you saw that. If I try to put a date format, which is incorrect, it's going to give me an error as well. So I need to fix that, right? And in here is a text field. And if I try to finish it, it's going to tell me that my length has been set as 5, but I'm trying to enter something more than that. So these are the smart validation which is happening even before you start the migration process. So the chances of getting an error because you've entered something incorrectly has reduced significantly. Obviously, there might be onesie twosie errors, but as I was telling you, like I've kept a name duplicate, but some of the errors can be gotten real early on, right? So I'm going to fix this, and maybe I'll put like PM, and what I could do is I can use copy feature over here, or I can use something like that. We do professional services, I'll just put that, and you can see I filled the values, right? Same thing could happen over here as well. So right? So I could, oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to put like a date. Oh, I think I didn't copy it properly. That's fine. I'm going to leave it as is. And you can see here that I've used it like an Excel sheet to fill in the data, right? If I want, I can remove it, all that. When I'm ready, I'm going to click on the finish button. Right? And there are two options here. One is I can schedule it to run at a later point of time. So I can run it at 5 p.m., maybe on a Friday or something like that. All I need to do is keep VDM running. The second thing is I can run it right away. And it's going to first do like a quick check, and then it's just going to start uploading the documents, updating the metadata. If I had set RM or classification, it would have added that. It's going to make sure my modified and create date and owner is going to get updated. And you see that error that I talked about, because the file name already exists, is over here. Right? So you can see all my documents have been created. I'm going to just click on one of them real quick. It is Smart UI.
I really like this part of the when you're doing a migration project, the quality control is, is a big part of it, and having the logs and these quick links is just really helpful.
Yeah, it's no guesswork where the document went. Basically, you could just say that, take me to this location where the document is, and it's actually taking you to the property page of the document, right? So I can go in and now check whether everything was right. So I'm going to just refresh this page for now and show you. So you can see the contract, the signed document, and everything. I was in Smart UI, old habits die.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to
This
move to
audience is
classic.
probably used to classic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you can see the name. You can see the description I gave it to you. Renita.day is created by, because I logged in as Renita, but you can see the owner is Renita without the surname, right? So different user, because it picked it up from the file name. You can also see in source information, I've maintained the dates. It was created and modified. So 2022, 3 years from before today, right? And basically is trying to tell you that the original dates on the document were these. So if you're applying RM based on your creation date, this is going to be really helpful, right? I'm going to go to audit. You can see there was some classification inherited from parent because we didn't apply any. It did a create, it did a rename. Obviously, it removed all that extension and all that. It added the category. It did all the version, attribute version changes. It also did the permission change for the owner because I changed it to Renita. It didn't inherit Renita.day. And then obviously the owner and permission was changed in here. So it keeps a track of everything. And this is the user which performed this action. It could be admin. It doesn't have to be always a non-IT person, but it also can be a business user or someone who has access to it. Moving on to the category, you can see type is not mandatory here, but it was mandatory in my upload. This is the TKL that we've selected. This is the department. We said PDM as one of the items, so it kept everything in. And yeah, it just tried to keep the folder structure intact. If I go to this folder, it did have an empty folder in it. We didn't create that, so that's a good thing as well. Sometimes when you do bigger migration, there might be empty folder hanging around. You don't want to bring those in, so we skip that. Only when there are data in a folder, we create that, and obviously we fix the name as well when we did the migration. So all in one go, I was able to do a lot of fixes and lift and shift kind of a operation. Right, I'm going to take a pause, Brian. I think I covered a lot, so.
And I'm getting a bunch of good questions too. So
Okay.
Thank you for what you're doing there. One of the questions was because they saw the scenario we're doing is business workspaces, and this business workspace is part of your Salesforce extended ECM integration, right? So the question was, can it just run in normal folders, right? So the answer is, of course it can, right? Not of course, but it does work nicely that way.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know what else. And then here's another thing. Like we showed, we showed like that spreadsheet view, which is in the application that's basically responsive and validating, and she did some changes. But if you want to take that to another level with data for doing more data transformation, we give you the ability to save the spreadsheet offline, and so you get the template with the data that came from OpenText. So your categories and attributes and records management can be already pre-populated, and so you can save that down as a template and make offline edits or do other types of things that you want to do to it. And if you keep it within the right framework, come back and start the job and run from that load sheet is kind of what I call these things. Sometimes there's different names for it, but from that, and then you can do the update with validation, right?
That's right. Yep, that's true.
So that's the migration side. And did you get into the metrics too, like performance metrics when we ran the jobs too?
No, I didn't that. So I can show that real quick. So you can see here, if I come back to the log, I can see all my logs in here. It tells me how many items were created. There was one error, which I knew about. So you can see that. And at the end of it, it tells you how much time it took from end to end for this whole job to run, 17 seconds. And today it took me 0.765 seconds per document.
And that's pretty good. I mean, you saw the audit trail of everything that happened, right?
Yep.
So that's loading the document and all those changes. And that performance is really based on, your network over the, you're running off your own local internet connection, right?
That's true, but my VM doesn't have that much like manpower on it right now. So obviously like lesser number of threads and things like that. So yeah, it's dependent on a lot of factors, but it gives you the value, right? So you can then go and extrapolate it to kind of come to a conclusion how much time it's going to take me to run 1,000 items, and then use that data to see how much time it's going to run, for 10K, and then you can plan bigger jobs.
Yeah. And you have the ability to schedule the job too. Once you get this all ready to go, you can say, don't run it at noon time. Don't run it, at peak time. You can say, run it at 5 p.m. or something, whatever time it is.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess that's the first part of the demo is like bringing content in from external sources while updating. And I guess you're going to switch. Are you going to switch to the other use case now?
Yeah, so I have created this list all documents search type. Is basically looking into that account folder, and I migrated a bunch of PDF and doc documents. I'm going to update only the doc documents in this case. So I'm going to use the search query to drive my second scenario. So I just wanted to show you quickly, brings a few documents out for me, and then I'm going to use that item over here. So let me go back to PDM. This time I'm going to say update attribute. Again, you get to choose from an Excel sheet on new. Again, I have three options. I can do a basic search. I can do browse and select. Basically, it shows me the structure and then I can do it. Or I can use a save search, which I'm going to do now. I think this is pretty helpful. You can do targeted updates. You can even do like a whole structure if you just put the location, because search itself is such a powerful tool of content management system, right? So it helps you integrate PDM for updates with that functionality, I would say. So I'm going to run the search here, and it's going to go into content server, get me the data. Let's give it a second. So it's trying to retrieve my documents, which have the extension. So I've got all of that. And you can see my contract files from that first business workspaces here as well. So I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to go next. Again, agreement is required. If the category does not exist, you can apply it to it. There's a setting for that in our profile, so you can decide. You can decide whether you want to add it to a collection for transmittal, good for engineering use case, and also update the item description. I already have a lot of metadata to update, so I'm not going to do that. But you can see here, it kind of like updated. I also have to fill in the expiry date this time because I made it mandatory on the profile level for this operation. So I'm going to fill that. You can see here that the existing metadata is populated. I can change it if I want. or I can keep it as is, right? So it's really upon me if I want to change that data. I'm going to just change this to a different value. And then I get to select the RM classification. My RM classification is in this tree structure. So I'm going to open the contracting one. I'm going to select that, maybe the third one, and close it. And you can see that it has populated the values in here, right? It's the RM and it's showing you the file number. Now, if I want, and if I know the file number, I can go ahead and, oh, sorry, let me just do this. Oh, it doesn't allow me here. Okay, let me try here one more time. If it doesn't work, that means I don't have, oh, I'm sorry. I think I missed some of the values, so it's not showing you, but it allows me to update that value in here. Okay. Next in, I have the RSI on it. If I want, I can update any of my RM values, right? So it shows you the RSI, the file number, the RM classification. I did it on one item. I can also do it on separate items over here. So if I want, I can change that value 334, as you can see here. And then it kind of populates the other value. The one value that is mandatory in my system, which is not there in the other demo environment, is this cycle period. So you can see that I'm being prompted to enter that as well. If I don't do it, then it will give me another message, right? And then you can see here that is updating all of these values. You can decide which ones you want, which ones you don't. And then for these items I'm going to start, you can either schedule as we had for the load, and then the other option is to run it right away. The third option is obviously to save this spreadsheet and then come back to it at a later point of time. So I'm going to start this process now. And just like the other one is going to update and give you the links so that you can go back and check on it. So I'm going to just copy this one for my reference. I'm just going to open that up in this view. There you are. And let me go to categories because I did change that. You can see that value came in. The value up here got changed, as well as my record details got changed as well, right? Has all that information. This is my file number 333. And then for the cycle period, if I remember correctly, I used annual based on a calendar year. So that's there. And then the other data were also part of the Excel sheet, but I really didn't change those values. And again, everything is audited. So you can see here RM and the other values that I changed on the category, right? So kept everything ready. It did only the Word documents, the PDF documents I did tell to skip, so those are not done. And again, at the end of it, you get a nice overview, how many failures, how many successfuls, and time taken per document to get this thing updated. So, and yeah, it keeps a history, so you can like go back and see how things were at certain points. You can see here, I had one failure here for something because I didn't provide the cycle period for a vital record. So it failed there. So you can kind of like go back and review your logs as well for that user. So I think it's pretty neat to have this thing. Sometimes just for audit purpose or something like that, we keep the audit record and this just keeps it in a neat fashion as well, per operation, per user, per date. So yeah.
Okay, Renita, leave the BDM client open in case we want to refer to it, but
Yep.
you know, we're coming up on time. We got about maybe 6 minutes, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we filled it.
Yeah.
You want to do a few Q&As with me?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right. Let's see here. Where do we start? So we got a couple different types of questions here. You know, so the basic one: do we offer any evaluations? I got that one. Yep. Reach out to us if you want to do an evaluation. We'll talk through the you know, what the criteria you had for success, or do a little discovery, and then we can set that up with you. So that's one. So I got another one. You talked to it, but it's like, what's the transmission throughput any file type limitations? You want to take that again?
Throughput, as I was telling you, I got a pretty good one, but it really depends upon your infrastructure. Obviously, if you are doing an eval, it helps you understand that. We don't really have a file limitation. File types, all of them are, supported. We do have admin settings where you can say certain types are excluded, so that we do give you that functionality from your end if you want to exclude something, but nothing in our side will be dropped because they are not supported or something like
Yeah. You know, in the follow-up question that's coming from it, it looks like I have a customer that needs to load a large quantity of email files and voicemails for archival. Any constraints?
that. Not really. So emails will get uploaded as documents, 144 subtype. The only thing that you need to do as part of it is if you want to convert them to an email type, there is a utility from OpenText. You could use that. So it kind of like converts your documents into emails. So that would be the approach for it, but we can definitely upload emails. For videos, you can upload them as well, but you have to make sure that the size of the videos, because videos can be large, you just take care of it if you're running it on IIS or something like that. What is your max content upload size that you have set? So if you have those things adjusted, I don't think so there would be any issues uploading emails or video files into Contour.
Good.
Yeah, end of the day, we do rely on the APIs, right? So if something is blocked at the API level, it's blocked for us as well, right? So
No,
yeah.
We have a few customers who have done that. They brought in their emails. They wanted to archive their emails. And I remember it's a two-step process, but it works pretty smoothly.
Yeah, smoothly, yeah.
Okay, what else we got here? So limitations on number of folder levels that can be processed with BDM. Limitations on the number of objects that can be processed. So I guess you were showing a few folders. So someone's asking how many folders deep. They may have a deep folder structure, right? Is there any limitations there? And then number of objects that be processed in a job. Do you know of anything around that? I don't really.
Deep, it depends upon your file structure, right? Because Windows have a limitation of 254 characters in the path, right? So if you're within that, we are good because it gets translated into the content server path where there is no limitation. So you could work that out. If you want to adjust the file structure when you move things into content server, obviously you can update the columns that I was showing you, either manipulating that, removing 1 or 2 rows or something like that. You could do that. So really, the depth really doesn't concern me that much. Number of objects, for certain operations, we do have a setting in the admin client which tells you the max number of objects you could process in a batch. You can set it to one. I think the default is 1K, but you can make it higher or lower. That's something you have to discuss with your admin and set accordingly, because again, it's your system, you know it best, how many objects your admin wants to allow you to update, because it triggers search, maybe notifications and things like that. But that's all I could think about.
So you answered the question a little. Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to approach it. Yeah, that's correct. In our admin, we have kind of a safety level so that you can't bring in unlimited numbers. So you can set that. So that's actually a nice feature to have as an admin, to say, hey, they can only bring in 2,000 objects or something like that by default, right? But it's really no practical limit. It's a Windows limit is really where the limits are, right?
Yeah, that setting is for updates. I think for load, there's not really anything which will stop you. So it's the number of lines that Excel can take, kind of a thing.
Yeah. So Windows, Excel, these are where the limits are when you're thinking about this. So that makes sense. We got another minute to go here. I got a fun one for you. It looks like one of our existing customers that uses another product from ours is asking, can you do rollback with BDM in case I make a mistake? Oh. So I took a crack at the answer and I said, there's no rollback like you get that oops button in permissions manager to kind of magically just, undo things. But as you just saw with update attributes, so whether, say you did a load taxonomy, brought documents in with some metadata and you looked at it and go, oh, I made a mistake. Then you could go to update attributes and run that as a secondary process to fix the metadata. And same thing, if you did an update with update attributes and, oh, I made a mistake, oops, you can run another update attributes to fix that data. And then you have nice tools on the back end of this too, like I think Renita was showing, you can either browse the folder structure to target the content, or use the search engine within OpenText and create a saved search on the content, and then come back to BDM and pull up the saved search and then do the update on it. So that's another nice way to use it for targeting and cleaning up your metadata. Did I answer that fair enough?
Yeah, I think fair enough. And I think one of the interesting thing is you can see what the existing data is in the Excel sheet when you do update attributes, right? It brings the latest value in. So when you're eyeballing the data, you know what it is and what it should be, right? So you can correct it very easily.
I think that's a great point too, because another person was asking about doing other types of data transformations, like taking 2 attribute values, let's say, and using them to create a document name or something like that. You can take it offline and do the transformation, right, yourself, and then come back and run the job, right? It was the scenario.
Definitely.
So, but it's so there's all these things you want to do. The API, it interfaces nicely with the APIs of OpenText on categories, attributes, a lot of other things, records management, and it gives you this nice little framework to kind of run these jobs in a flexible licensing model where it's just an instance license and you can run it unlimited, is the big benefit of this. And whether you're in a cloud environment or on-prem, it really fits right in a wide sweet spot, not a little one, but a wide sweet spot again. And you don't have to be like with Object Importer, that's a little more scripting, technical. You set this up and your business users can use it on an ongoing basis for multiple scenario, types of jobs in the organization. So it's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife for loading content, whether it's large consolidations to specialized updates. I'm at the top of we're 2 minutes over, Renita, so I guess we got to say goodbye. But again, thank you for an expert job of presenting the tools that we have and in the way you just kind of present the scenarios. There's a lot of thought that goes into that, folks. And I will, there's some other questions we'll get to today with responses. But we're as a team available to kind of engage with discovery whenever we need. Okay, so thanks. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks for coming, and hopefully we'll be talking soon.
Thank you.
Right, I'm going to shut it down. Good interaction. Not sure how to do it. End webinar. I'm trying to close it. It's not closing.
I think if we just drop, it would just take it from there.
Webinar. When I click it, oh, I'm getting a screen. I want to leave the webinar? Yes.